this lesson, we're going to talk about job costing. Job costing is a way that we can track the direct materials, direct labor, and overhead for a specific project. We're going to use exercise E from the Chapter 2 exercises of our textbook. And it says, at the end of the second week in March, job 710 has accumulated total costs of $37,800. This $37,800 are the costs incurred to date, or what the costs are in beginning work in process. When we're talking about doing journal entries for the job to record its cost, these have already been recorded in prior weeks, so we don't need to record anything for beginning work in process. You will notice that I did enter it on the job cost sheet. This is the job cost sheet for job 710. The job cost sheet consists of any costs from the prior periods, the direct materials, direct labor, and overhead added this period. So what costs are we adding? It says in this third week, $9,000 of direct materials were used on the job. So I'm going to put $9,000 in here. And what journal entry would I use to record this? I would record this directly into work in process. So I'm going to put work in process inventory for $9,000, and it's coming out of raw materials inventory because that is what I'm using. I'm using raw materials as direct materials. And I'm going to put a description in here. This is to the assign direct materials to job 710. The next thing, it says 300 hours of direct labor were charged to the job at $40 per hour. So we're going to take the 300 hours and we're going to multiply that by the $40 per hour direct labor rate. So we have $12,000 in direct labor. We need to do a journal entry for that too. Notice my journal entry doesn't use an account called direct materials or direct labor. That's just a description of the type of cost that it is. All of these costs will go directly into work in process. So we have work in process for direct labor, which is going to be for $12,000. And as our credit, you can use either factory payroll or wages payable. Either one is fine, and that will be our credit. We're going to assign direct labor to our job. Finally, it says job 710 was the only job worked on in this week. I forgot one. Manufacturing overhead was applied on the basis of $45 per machine hour for overhead. This job was completed in the third week, and job 710 used 160 machine hours. So I need this information here, this 160 machine hours, and I also need to know that overhead was applied on a basis of $45 per machine hour. So using those two things, I can calculate my overhead cost as 160 machine hours times $45 per machine hour, which is my rate for overhead. So that's going to give me $7,300. Once again, because I'm adding costs to the job, I'm going to debit work in process for that $7,200, and I'm going to credit my manufacturing, factory, or just overhead. Either of those, any of those topics will work. So we're going to assign overhead cost to job 710. So the total cost of this job is $66,000. We also need to give the journal entry to record its completion and transfer it to finished goods. Why do we need to transfer it to finished goods? We need to transfer it to finished goods because we can't sell something that is still in process. We can't sell something that hasn't been completed. So we're going to record that this item has been completed, and we're going to transfer it to finished goods. Remember, where it's going to is our debit. So we're going to record it to finished goods inventory, and where it's coming from is our credit, and it's coming from work in process inventory because it's moving from work in process to finished goods. With this, you want the total cost. So we're going to use this total cost and we're going to take the entire $66,000, which is the total job cost, including the cost from any prior periods. And this is how we transfer the cost of job 710 to finished goods. So this is how we would prepare a job cost sheet, and the basic journal entries that we have refer to the job cost flow document provided on Blackboard to see the full set of journal entries that are necessary for a job costing, and continue working on the demo exercise.